today's lesson, I'm going to be talking about an aspect of Pat Martino's method that allowed me to take one idea and play it tons of different ways. This opened up my improvisation and allowed me to be more free with only a couple ideas. I'm going to play you a short etude that uses exactly what I'm talking about. Feel free to skip ahead if needed. As always, the guitar profile with embedded audio so you can play along with me, as well as PDF and music XML files for not only this etude, but everything else will be on Patreon. Okay, so what I learned from Pat is the idea of taking a couple simple lines over static sounds and moving them around to create tons of new ideas. To put it into perspective, the etude I just played almost exclusively used 2 lines over 2 types of sounds: a minor sound and a dominant sound. In Pat's method, he teaches us that a dominant chord can also be thought of as a minor chord. This is very important. So if we had an F7, it could also be a C minor 7. It's 2 chord. To find a dominant's 2 chord, just play a power chord shape and look at the top note. Now that you know this, every time you see a dominant chord, you can play not only dominant language like our line, but minor language as well. And you can connect them together like in the first line of the etude. This also works the opposite way. You can play dominant language over minor chords. Very quickly, I want to plug my new Patreon tier, which I just launched. You're going to want to subscribe to that, as I have a bunch of exclusive content created just for that tier. Okay, so right off the bat, that's super helpful, but Pat takes it even further. Check this out. Every dominant chord is connected in minor thirds. For a detailed explanation of the theory behind this, click on the video in the corner of the screen. So, if we had F7, it could also be A flat 7, B7, and D7. This also goes for its related minor 2 chord. So instead of F7, we could of course play C minor 7, as well as the other 2 chords of the other dominant chords I just showed, being E flat minor 7, F sharp minor 7, and A minor 7. I want to give a shout out to the new sponsor of this channel, Stringjoy Strings. I love these strings and I've been using them for years, and if you're interested in picking up a set for yourself, which I highly recommend, you can find the link in the video description below. Right, now how can we start applying this idea then? Let's take our original dominant line. Now when we move it in minor thirds, we have to think about the starting note in relation to F7. So our initial line starts on the 3rd of F7. If we move it to the next dominant chord a minor third up, being A flat 7, then our line would start on the 3rd of that chord, which is C. If you relate that back to F7, that is the 5th. If we kept moving this line over the other chords in minor thirds, it would continue starting then on the flat 7, and the flat 9. chord tones are not that difficult to think about either, since they are mostly notes of the F7 arpeggio. Now let's do the same thing with our minor language. Our original minor line starts on the 5th of F7. If we move it around in minor thirds, the next one would start on the flat 7, then the flat 9, and finally the third. Notice it's the same chord tones as before. Now this means that we can mix and match these licks and lines together over F7 pretty easily. Here's an example. Notice I started out with our normal dominant line, and then moved the minor line built off the flat 7, and then finished with the dominant line starting on the 5th. So honestly, the sky is the limit here with how you can apply it over dominant chords. Remember that you can also use this on minor chords, but it might seem a little more outside though. So for example, let's take our last line and play it all over C minor 7. If you want to get even broader with this, you can honestly do this over major chords as well. If we have B flat major, for example, you just think about what the 5 chord of our major chord would be, which is F7 in this case, and use Pat's method over that dominant chord. I hope you found this as eye-opening as I did when I first learned it. Just remember, it's not about having a million licks memorized, it's about understanding a few concepts deeply and applying them creatively. If you enjoyed this lesson, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more jazz guitar lessons. And don't forget to check out my Patreon for all the accompanying materials for this lesson. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to all my Patreons. This channel would not be possible without you guys, and I want to thank you sincerely. And as always, thanks for watching, and remember to always keep swinging.